Tomorrow, everything you thought was safe about your money could vanish. Not because of a bad investment, not because of your mistakes, but because governments are quietly printing money, and there's a hidden game most people never see. While you pay higher prices and watch your savings shrink, a tiny elite profits, almost invisibly. This has happened again and again, empires collapsing, currencies crumbling, entire nations thrown into chaos, yet most people remain blind to the pattern. In this video we're exposing the secret rule that insiders exploit every time money is printed, showing exactly who wins, who loses, and how you can survive before it's too late. Stick around, because the truth you're about to see will make you question everything you know about money, power, and control, and it might just change the way you live. Section 1. Historical cases of money printing. History has a way of repeating itself, especially when it comes to money. Take Weimar Germany in the early 1920s. People would rush to the bakery with wheelbarrows full of cash, only to return home with enough bread for a single meal. Prices doubled overnight, savings evaporated, and the middle class was destroyed. The reason? The government printed money to pay war debts and stimulate the economy, but without real backing, the value of the currency collapsed. Fast forward a few decades, and Zimbabwe tells a strikingly similar story. In the 2000s, hyperinflation became a daily nightmare. A loaf of bread cost billions of Zimbabwean dollars. Banks couldn't keep up with the sheer amount of cash needed, and people turned to barter to survive. Even today, nations like Venezuela face similar crises, proving the pattern is not just history, it's a recurring cycle. In every case, ordinary citizens suffer first, while those with access to assets, foreign currency, or political power can shield themselves. These historical examples are not just cautionary tales. They are blueprints of what happens when governments print money without control. By understanding these patterns, you can begin to see how modern economies may be vulnerable in ways most people ignore. Section 2. Modern money printing in today's world. Governments continue to print money, but the process looks very different. Quantitative easing, central bank stimulus, and low interest rates have injected trillions into modern economies like the US, Europe, and Japan. On the surface, this appears harmless. The money goes into banks, businesses, and markets to stimulate growth. But underneath, the hidden effects ripple through everyday life. Prices rise, real wages stagnate, and the purchasing power of your savings quietly erodes. Unlike historical hyperinflation, it's often invisible at first, slowly creeping into grocery bills, rent, and gas prices. Meanwhile, stock markets soar, real estate values climb, and corporations with debt access thrive. The lesson is clear. Money printing hasn't disappeared, has just evolved. The winners remain the insiders with assets and information, while the average person bears the invisible cost. Modern money printing is not a neutral economic tool. It's a strategic redistribution of wealth, disguised as policy and benevolence. Understanding this invisible process is crucial if you want to avoid being quietly drained by the system while the elite profit. Section 3. Who benefits every time money is printed? Someone always benefits in. It's rarely the average citizen. Banks are the obvious winners, because the new money floods the system, enabling lending, investing, and speculation on an unprecedented scale. Large corporations and financial institutions, particularly those with insider knowledge, see stock prices rise and assets appreciate. Governments themselves benefit as debt obligations become easier to service in a devalued currency. Meanwhile, ordinary people lose purchasing power, see inflation rise, and often struggle to keep up with skyrocketing costs. History is full of examples. In Weimar Germany, speculators bought properties and commodities that skyrocketed in price, leaving common citizens impoverished. In Zimbabwe, those with access to foreign currency and international trade survived, while the majority of citizens faced economic collapse. The pattern is clear. Money printing is never neutral, and its invisible beneficiaries are always positioned to profit first. Knowing who benefits allows you to see through the illusion, anticipate the consequences, and make informed choices to protect yourself. Section 4. The hidden consequences. The consequences of unchecked money printing go far beyond inflation. It erodes trust in the financial system, disrupts the social fabric, and often leads to political instability. People lose faith in savings, banks, and governments, creating social tension and unrest. Historical collapses show us that hyperinflation and devalued currencies often precede revolutions or mass migrations. For example, in post-WWI Germany, economic collapse fueled extremism and social upheaval. In Zimbabwe, the economy's failure triggered mass emigration and social chaos. Even in modern times, Slow erosion of purchasing power creates hidden crises. Families struggle to maintain living standards. Governments accumulate unsustainable debt, and asset bubbles grow, leaving societies vulnerable to sudden shocks. These are consequences most people never see coming, and yet they are directly tied to the invisible act of printing money. Recognizing these patterns allows you to see the true cost of government interventions and understand why the average person almost always loses while the system continues. Section 5: How to protect yourself while money printing may seem unstoppable. History shows that there are strategies to survive and even thrive in these cycles. Diversification is key. Holding assets in multiple forms, precious metals, foreign currencies, real estate, and inflation-protected instruments can hedge against the hidden cost of devaluation. Educating yourself about debt cycles, central bank policies, and economic signals helps you anticipate market shifts before they hit hard. Historically, people who understood these patterns found ways to protect their wealth, whether by investing in commodities, holding foreign currency, or acquiring assets that retain value even when the local currency collapses. Modern investors can do the same. Stay informed, avoid higher-risk debt, and focus on assets that aren't easily manipulated by government policies. Awareness is your first line of defense. By understanding who benefits, who loses, and how the system operates, you can navigate the invisible forces of money printing and make decisions that safeguard your wealth, rather than being quietly drained by the repeating cycles of history. Every time governments print money, the cycle repeats itself. Ordinary people lose, insiders profit, and the invisible rules of wealth shift without most of us ever noticing. History has shown it again and again. From collapsing empires to modern economies, the same patterns emerge, and those who understand them are the ones who survive. The truth is uncomfortable. Money has never been neutral, and neither has power. But knowledge is the one tool that can protect you. By recognizing who benefits, who loses, and how these systems operate, you can make smarter choices, safeguard your wealth, and avoid becoming another statistic in history's repeating story. If you've learned something shocking today, take a moment to reflect and share this video so others can see what most people never realize about money, power, and control. And if you want more hidden truths about the economy, finance, and the patterns governments don't want you to notice, subscribe to Money Historian and hit the notification bell. History is watching, the system is moving, and now it's your turn to understand it before it moves against you.